TikTok compilation that might wake you up and change your reality. Let's go!
Disclaimer: this video is for entertainment purposes only. Please do your own research, as these clips haven't been fact-checked.
If you go to London, don't even think about using your phone on the streets anymore. In recent years, there has been a massive surge in phone thefts. People will be waiting for the bus or just walking around using their phones when these guys dressed in all black will come up behind them on a bike, snatch their phone out of their hands and quickly accelerate off. And this is not like 1 or 2 cases a day. There was almost 91,000 phones stolen from Londoners in 2022, which is an average of 248 a day, or one stolen every 6 seconds. Oh my lord. And it's believed to only have got worse since then. Nearly 70% of all thefts in London were related to mobile phones. Only 2% of the stolen phones were actually recovered, and young people are disproportionately the targets of these crimes. And that is why,
If they are unlocked, they can get into your banking apps. You gotta call your bank right after you got your phone stolen.
Transplant procedure involves removing a person's entire head containing the brain from their current diseased body and attaching it to the body of a healthy, young, brain-dead donor. Head transplants could provide individuals with severe medical conditions such as terminal cancer, paralysis, spinal cord injuries, or neurodegenerative diseases the opportunity to have a fully functional body while preserving their consciousness, memories, and cognitive abilities. The neurons are the longest-lasting functional cells in the human body, and according to our estimates, the brain is capable of lasting several hundred years, provided that the rest of the body remains young. The Brain Bridge concept involves the use of the integrated robotics platform comprised of the 2 autonomous surgical robots, designed to perform simultaneous surgeries on 2 bodies side by side within a single setup.
I know this head transplant procedure was done way back years before, to a paralyzed man who volunteered. And I think it has failed because there is no news after that. Do you think it's possible? Drop a comment, please.
Do you still not realize that they're all playing multiple roles? And I'm not just talking this guy, I'm talking all of them. Why don't we take a look at 2 supposedly different individuals in Benicio del Toro and Brad Pitt? They look kind of similar, right? Kind of real similar, even in their younger years. But that's all it is, right? Similarity. They just have similar features. They couldn't possibly be the same person, right? Well, let's take a closer look and see what we can find. Did you ever see when Benicio won an Oscar? Kind of runs like somebody I know. I don't know, there's just some similarities to it. Maybe it's just me. Although he does celebrate as he's being handed an Oscar. Oh, and did you see who just happened to hand him that Oscar? Brad Pitt's wife, and she just happens to be looking very adoringly at Benicio and seems pretty chummy with him for photos. But again, it's just coincidence. I'm making too much of this. Kind of like the coincidence of them sitting very identically and having the exact same mannerisms. And did you know they both just happen to be known for eating food a lot in their movie roles?
You handle food better on screen than anybody I've seen. And I want to...
But why would they do this, you're probably asking yourself. Why would they go through the trouble? I'll tell you. It's to give you the most skewed sense of reality possible. So you don't know left from right, and up from down, and round from flat, and you have to ask them and rely on them for all the answers, because then they have all the power. So the sooner you realize this is a reality and this is a reality, the sooner your mind is open to what reality actually is, and you can take your power back. That's what I did, and I feel better than ever. And of course, this is all for entertainment purposes. These guys are probably just from the same genetic line, way, way back from that English king that all the presidents are related to. Entertainment purposes only.
Did he not realize that Brad Pitt and Benicio del Toro were in the same film? This man has Inspector Gadget level reach.
So what can you show us that as a demonstration of what
Yeah.
you can now do?
Here we go. This is the Link app. This is how I control everything. This is the app that they've uploaded onto my computer that lets me control the cursor. This is my devotional that I've been reading all the time, every day. And then this is me playing chess.
So wait a minute,
these are-
you're moving the cursor. You're moving the cursor, Nolan, just by thinking about where you want it to go, or is it your eyes?
No, it's just me thinking about wherever I want it to go.
Oh man! So
Yeah,
you're not
so-
even tracing it with your eyes. You're just looking at it.
Nope, I can move it and I can move the cursor around, whatever I would like to do. I don't have to be staring at it at all. I mean, it's amazing. There's not even words to describe. Yeah, there's not even words to describe how amazing this tech is.
That incredible and scary at the same time. Wait until ads starts randomly popping in your head. I personally could never trust my brain like that. My intuitive thoughts take over, and all of a sudden, I'm arrested. Ooh. What would you do if he stares you and making that sound? You know, the sound is like a Harley Davidson motorcycle.
Jesus Christ said the weirdest thing I ever heard in my life. He said, those who decide to try and keep their life will lose it. But he said, those who decide to give up their life or lose their life for my sake will gain it. Jesus is trying to show you what it looks like to become selfless. You become selfless by dying to yourself. If you're on a team, you might need to remind yourself every so freaking often that you are not that important. The way you feel is not that important. If somebody said something to you that hurt your freaking feelings, you're not that important. Die to yourself and you will gain your life.
Selfless is not thinking less of self, rather thinking of self less. Don't let anyone bully you. Step up. Jesus said, if you don't have a sword, go buy one. I'm pretty sure he was referring to giving up your worldly life and following him and being born again into a new life with Christ.
Woman has a pet snake. She's had this snake since it was very, very small, and it now grown into a 7.5, 8-foot massive snake. She loves this thing as much as some people love their own cat or dog. So when the snake all of a sudden stopped eating, the woman got very, very concerned. No matter what she could do, she could not get the snake to eat. So she took the snake to the vet, and the vet asked a couple of very important questions. Does your snake happen to be all of a sudden sleeping with you and stretching out at night? And she said, yes, as a matter of fact, it is. Was he doing that every night? And she said, yes. She thought there was going to be an answer to help her beloved snake. The vet looked her in the eyes and said, your snake isn't sick. Your snake is laying next to you at night and stretching out to see how long he has to be. And the reason he's not eating is so that he can digest
Oh my
what
goodness.
he's preparing to eat. I'm sorry to tell you this, but your snake is preparing to devour you. In life, all of the people around us give us all the information we need to be aware,
Wow.
but it's the love that we have for them that blinds us too often.
Very important meaning behind this story. What a powerful metaphor.
How you doing? Good. Tonight we have beef ribs, loaded mashed potatoes, fried chicken with gravy, cabbage, sweet potatoes, baked chicken, broccoli, turkey wings with smothered in gravy, and honey bunny cornbread. What do you want?
Everything, please and thank you.
Everything. Let's start with the ribs.
I couldn't live in that house. I'd be as big as a house. And not me saying he forgot to put the baked chicken on that plate.
Attracted to men? No. Why not? Because that's the way I'm hardwired. What if someone is hardwired the exact opposite way? I think there's a presupposition you've got, which is God created me the way I was born. The Bible contradicts that. Meaning by that, I was not born with a desire to forgive. You hurt me bad enough, I'm coming after you. That's naturally what I do. So then I've got to ask myself the question, my desire to come after you and seek revenge, is that what God created me to do? Or did God create me to forgive? I was not born with a heterosexual drive to have sex with just one woman. I was born with a heterosexual drive to have sex with as many good-looking women as I could get into bed with me. This whole idea that God created me to be this way, no. I am born with something that Jesus in the Bible calls a readiness to sin factor. When I was a little kid playing in a sandbox with a buddy, I got ticked with a buddy. So ticked I picked up a metal truck and slammed him over the head with it.
The cops are still looking for you.
Yeah, that's right. All right, it came very naturally. I never saw that behavior modeled from my environment. It was sort of an instinct. It just sort of happened. So this whole idea that every drive that I have, that I'm born with, is good? No, I've got a lot of drives that are not good. In fact, I'm a mixed up kid. That's why I need God's help, because I am a mixed up.
Why is love a sin? Why should that give us eternal damnation?
The Bible says that God is love. So just an opinion of love. If God is love, then God is queer? Why? A man can't love a father can't love a son? A son can't love a father, a brother can't love a brother?
It's crazy how well articulated Cliff is. You all should listen to the whole 2-hour podcast. Cliff and his son drop some really good stuff.
How much it costs to buy this house in Bali. This is a 3-bedroom villa in the center of Canggu. So we got a big living room over here, super high ceilings, private outdoor pool, Tony Stark type kitchen. First bedroom, you can walk out into the pool straight from your bedroom. Imagine you wake up in the morning and just straight in there. Ensuite with a bathtub. This place in Miami would be like $5 million probably. So now we're upstairs. You can look down. Look how much space you have in this living room. I feel rich. Second bedroom with a balcony. Second bathroom. Third bedroom. I've never seen a wall like this. It's like a rock. Second balcony. You got your own bamboo trees. And the biggest sliding door I've ever seen. And the final price for this house is...
Let me know in the comment if this house is cheap or not. $490,000. You can get it more cheaper if you build it your own. Maybe half of it. Some people said meteor and some said not. Regardless, it's a beautiful shot and reaction. Perfection just happens when it's meant to.
The creepiest thing I've seen in a good minute. The fallen angel statue discovered in Russia.
What?
There's these dudes, Russian dudes, in Serbia? Was it? Siberia? They work in a gravel quarry or something. And they were just digging and they found this ginormous statue of this crazy, evil looking angel with its like hood down, but like its eyes and it's these giant wingspan things, and it's like holding a shield, and it was kneeling. And these dudes standing up beside this statue, their heads didn't even go past the statue's head, and it was kneeling down.
Ew.
And it looks, the detail on it is like exquisite. Like it looks like a angel or man thing.
Oh, wow.
That was like frozen in time, like it like fell in a concrete bath or something. And so what does that mean?
Sounds like the start of
Don't
a
know.
scary movie. They're gonna go put it in a lab and they're gonna soak it in like acid or something. It's
That's a
gonna come
scare.
alive.
No.
Yeah, that's
I watched another video. The dudes say they were taking pictures next to it and couldn't handle the pure evil energy spewing from it. And I heard the guys who found the statue are still missing to this day.
I'm furious and I can't believe what this world's coming to. I've just been stood outside of Greg's. I didn't buy anything. And some woman's walked in there. She's filled her bag full of food and drinks, gone into the fridge, and she's just walked off, not paying. So I've gone in, I've said, excuse me, mate, did you just see that woman? She's just gone and filled her bags. And she's walked off, and he was like, there's nothing we can do. The police don't even want to know anything about it. What the is is this world coming to? I felt like walking up after her, smashing the food on the floor and saying, right, you didn't pay for that. What do you reckon to that? Thieving, broad daylight. Greggs, do something about it. Or the police. Because why the fuck should I go and pay for anything if you're just letting people walk into the open storefront, fill their bag, go into the fridge, take the drinks, and then walk off? Country's finished. Cost of living crisis, just don't pay for anything. That solves that easy.
I noticed in the Western country, police don't do anything, but if you hurt someone's feeling, they will be right around. That's why McDonald's French fries taste fabuloso.
Okay, I don't know why nobody's talking about this, but it is huge. So I quit watching American Idol. I think the last season I watched was the season that they ended it and then it came back. But this season on American Idol, it has had so many people singing worship music on this nationally broadcasted TV show in front of millions. And if you know anything about Katy Perry, then you know her background in the church. She even calls herself the prodigal daughter in reference to the prodigal son. You know, she grew up in a very Christian household, and then once she got older, she decided to step away from that. It was a lot for her. And I will be the first one to sit here and tell you, I wholeheartedly think that God is chasing down Katy Perry. Every time somebody comes on this show and they sing a worship song or they start talking about God, she's bawling. And it's like, if you've ever grown up in church and then you backslide, you know that feeling and how heavy that conviction is. And I really think that it's doing something to her, having heard it so much so in this season. And not just hearing it, but like seeing these people on this stage, like just exuding this love for God. And after Roman and Cece ended up singing The Goodness of God, I think that one done her in. Not only did everybody who watched this season get blessed by just watching these artists sing these songs, it was amazing to watch. But I really think that Katy, it may have like got some things going back through her head because she's just so emotional every time one of these songs play. And it's like you can just see the wheels start turning.
100%. And let's talk about her ex getting saved recently, Russell. He will leave the 99 to chase the one. If you know, you know.
Somebody explain this. Go to October in the year 1582. Just wait. Did they just skip 11 days, or was it a glitch in the Matrix?
In October 1582, there was a significant change in the calendar system known as the switch from the Julian calendar to the Gregorian calendar. This change involved skipping 10 days.
Are suing the defendant for $40,000 in medical bills plus an additional $25,000.
I was involved in a hit and run on my motorcycle. So I lost consciousness. I believe I flatlined, and then the EMT, Malcolm, showed up on site and decided to perform CPR. Now I do have a DNR tatted on my chest. Which Malcolm, the EMT, completely disregarded.
Okay, I'm curious. If you flat
runs across my whole chest.
Is it like this big?
It's about
small?
this big.
Okay, all right. And it just says DNR.
Yes, in capital.
And you said that you didn't know what DNR meant.
No, sir.
Jeff, let me ask you before we get started, Mr. Serrano, am I pronouncing your last name correctly? Because I don't want to be disrespectful.
Yes, Serrano, that's correct.
Okay, Serrano. Okay, sir.
I think a DNR must be a valid piece of paper signed by both the person and medical director. What do you think?
Project Blue Beam is going to scare everyone. We are getting ready for the one world religion. Don't be surprised if the sky open up and you see Jesus, Muhammad, Buddha, Krishna. One world religion is now here. The people that's so-called in power, their time is over with. There's no more time for them. That's why they gotta pull everything out. And Project Bluebeam is their master card. They're going to tell the whole world these UFOs are here. They coming to save us. They coming to take us to another planet. But there's going to be so many people that believe they going to believe it's the new rapture. When these UFO spacecraft finally come, I would not go on none of these ships. Because once you go on these ships, you will never be seen again. Demons, aliens, fallen angels, demons, whatever name you want to give them. They're going to come here and do all kind of miracles. They're going to heal all the sick people. They're going to make people walk again. They're going to clean all the water, all the food. But they're not going to tell you they was the ones that created all this nonsense from the start. So once they start creating all these miracles, but they're not going to come looking like these aliens. They're going to come looking like your savior and your guys you've been worshiping all your life. What's taking place right now is the boy who cried wolf. So many spiritual teachers been trying to tell the population this shit is going to happen, but nothing never happened. Nothing never happened. So it became the boy who cried wolf. There was something did happen, no one believed it. The people that control this matrix did a hell of a job people minds up. I want people to understand that we have a new moon coming next month. Not just any moon, but the flower moon. The new moon is May 23rd. The flower moon is all about abundance. So they're going to try to use our energy to make all their shit manifest. They're going to use our energy to make this one world religion take place. Who is going to be the guide of this new world religion? You guessed it. The UFOs.
I'm not scared. God is real, and I'm with him. End times are already here, but people are too ignorant to see.
I don't know about this.
No. All right, so
yes.
My ice video, crazy. My fountain drink video, crazy. My asking people about what not to eat in the restaurant, crazy. In those videos, people kept saying, do one about the lemon in the water. Why did I do one about the lemon in the water? All right, hold on. Before we get into it, I know. That's old news. I already knew that. Well, guess what? It's new news to somebody, and everybody didn't know that. Check this shit out.
A slice of lemon with your glass of water, tea, or soft drink. It turns out those lemons are spiking your drink with germs. Everything from the stuff that causes staph infection to fecal bacteria.
It was like they had dipped it in raw meat or something. It was gross.
Microbiologist Ann Loving, a professor at Passaic County Community College in New Jersey, and her team's findings are gross.
And the very first sample that we took was loaded with fecal bacteria.
Ann and her team tested the lemon wedges at 21 restaurants every time a drink hit the table. They found that 77%, or 2 out of every 3 lemon wedges they tested, had disease-causing bacteria.
In many of them, we got different organisms on the rind than on the flesh. All in all, 25 different microorganisms were recovered.
And are these microorganisms that can make you sick?
They are.
We don't give it a thought. We grab the lemon, give it a squeeze, drop it into our drink. But apparently, that creates a witch's brew of bacteria. Restaurant workers should use tongs or gloves to put lemon wedges on drinks, but they often use their bare hands, a health code violation.
Microorganisms could have come from either like dirty fingertips of a restaurant employee, or maybe they were using the same knife or cutting board to cut the lemons that they were cutting up steaks on or something.
That's right.
Professor Loving says she stopped putting lemons in her drink at restaurants and says we all may want to think twice about it.
Did you usually put a lemon in your water?
Never.
I'm not a biologist or a chemist, but shouldn't the acid from the lemon kill the bacteria that's on the lemon? Lemon is a strong acid. But let me hear your take in the comment.
5 of the most disturbing pictures ever taken. Number 5, this photo of the blood trail left by Peter Porco. While he was sleeping, Peter was brutally attacked with an axe by his own son. But that morning, Peter woke up, despite severe head injuries and a jaw that was hanging off, and he started his morning routine. He showered, he dressed himself, and he badly loaded the dishwasher. Even though his face and brain were completely destroyed, he completed his morning routine on autopilot before finally collapsing. These are pictures of the blood trail that investigators used to piece what happened together. Number 4, this photo of James Bolger's kidnapping. This is taken from the shopping center CCTV, and it shows 2-year-old James Bolger being led away by 2 10-year-old boys, John Venables and Robert Thompson. The boys abducted him from his mother before taking him to the train tracks to torture him brutally, weighing him down with rocks over the track so that he'd then be severed in half by an oncoming train.
God.
Horrible. A bit lighter, number 3, this US soldier holding up a giant jungle centipede in Vietnam. I mean, this is just mental. Number 2, this photo of a kidnapper and hostage during the Gladbeck hostage crisis. This one's insane. 2 people robbed a bank and took 2 employees hostage. Over the next 54 hours, the 2 criminals just went on a crime spree. At one point, they commandeered a public bus, taking 32 more hostages. They even held a press conference where journalists interviewed the criminals and their hostages as if it was like a media event. And that's what this picture was taken during. The crisis finally ended with a high-speed shootout, sadly resulting in the death of 2 hostages. Before I get to number 1, if you like this please drop me a follow. It really helps me keep making these videos. Number 1, this photo of Issei Sagawa, Japan's celebrity cannibal. This photo was taken for a Japanese magazine after he was released from prison due to insanity. He was in prison because he murdered Renee Hartfelt, mutilated her, and then cannibalized parts of her body. After he was released, he was frequently on talk shows, reviewed restaurants for magazines, and even acted in horror films. He wrote his own book on the murder of Renee Hartfelt, where he writes in extreme detail about how eating her body was a form of romantic act.
I think the centipede is fake. It's forced perspective. The centipede is a lot closer to the camera than the guy. What do you think? And the James Bolger case just makes me so angry.
How would you feel if you lost it all, but you had the favor of one?
I don't care. I'm good. I don't care. I don't care. Oh man, what a question you're asking. If. Yeah. Yeah.
All the money, all the business, all the...
Oh wait, let me tell you, man.
The Yankees, everything you've
dreamed. You know, when my wife and I, what's this all about? Freaking I do a million and a reason this never happens. No. He's changed my life.
You guys grab it.
Always choose God, folks, not this world. Mark 8, verse 36. For what shall it profit a man if he shall gain the whole world and lose his own soul?
This is a thing, right, in Thailand where different people will buy a spot in a red room with crypto so they can't be traced. A red room in Thailand is a room where a child is murdered every 3 weeks and they are sacrificed. And the person that pays with the crypto gets to choose how that kid is murdered. And the other person gets to do things to them. Now that is trafficking. That is murder trafficking.
We live in a sad and cruel world.
I'll play this. I want to ask y'all a question. How much information do we need to see to understand what's going on? How much information do we need to see to understand that Satan is trying to take us out left and right? Satan does not like us. Satan hates us. Satan is using these famous people, these influencers, these celebrities, these famous people to lead us to hell. And if you pay attention, Satan always uses them to push an agenda, to make us comfortable with whatever he's trying to push. And it's in our TV shows, it's in our music videos, it's everywhere, to the point where we just comfortable with all of it. It's like it's going to become our normal. And if you don't know the word, if you don't know what God stands on, you're going to perish for lack of knowledge. I need everybody to understand this. If you don't read your word and get an understanding, you're not going to see what the enemy is doing. But let's check this video out.
What are we fighting, y'all? This organization is called Ordo Templi Orientis. It is known to every famous person as the OTO. This is an organization. I got a friend who's pretty famous. Well, we're not friends right now, but we were real close friends when he was on his way to be famous. Sold 1 million copies of an album, got a phone call. Told me. He said, man, I got a phone call from a group. It's a fraternal order for famous people, OTO. He said they made me an offer and wouldn't let me refuse it, and basically told me that if I didn't join this organization, that my career would end. I would lose my record contract, or I'd be tossed in jail on some charges or something. But they said if I joined it, I'll continue to be famous. This organization is called the OTO. It's the Order of the Temple of the East, or the Order of Oriental Templars. This is an organization under the leadership at the time when Aleister Crowley was living. He led it, this organization, and he reorganized it around his law of Thelema, which is to do what thou wilt. Y'all remember that? Y'all got it? It was kind of a
Look up
built
Aleister
around
Crowley.
religious principles, but the religion was Satanism. Are y'all with me? So basically, this organization is what people would get into if they wanted to be famous. So if you wanted to be famous and have some power in the world, or be known for your ability or whatever, you had to get in this organization, because they had to make sure of a few things. They had to make sure that, one, you wasn't going to tell on them, so they had to have something on you. So to be inducted in there, it says that the membership is based on an initiatory system with a series of degree ceremonies that use ritual drama to establish fraternal bonds. In other words, they make you, like, if you're a man, they make you have sex with a man, and they take pictures of it, you know, and they'll threaten to show it if you go, you know, public, or they'll make you do something despicable, and then they tell you that they will end your career if you ever come out and try to talk against the OTO. Because what the OTO is.
So I want to pause for a second and think about this, which you know is the truth. Every time we turn around lately, we've been seeing celebrities exposed for want to talk to underage girls or sex trafficking and all these things. So you don't think they are purposely doing this to make sure their celebrity stays in line, that whatever they know is never exposed. It's levels to this. Every time we turn around, there's a celebrity that's coming out with some wild stuff. And you have to sit and understand, like, it's a reason why that all this stuff be eventually coming out. Because it's going to make sure that everybody that's in this organization, or everybody that's a part of this, you're going to always fall in line, or we will expose you and take everything that you have.
It's a secretive organization that teaches you how to manipulate certain Nephilim spirits, so these spirits can get in you, lift you up, make you famous. If you refuse it, you just won't be famous.
I just wouldn't be famous.
How do they start people out? They start people out that will get in these organizations with this satanic ritual abuse. They go find a child, small child, and let me read it to you, it's going to make a little more sense. In satanic ritual abuse, an infant or child is chosen to be the special one. This is the one that is going to grow up and be inhabited by a Nephilim, a special Nephilim spirit. So when it's one that wants to be great, they start these children out very young. Are y'all still with me?
Grooming them kids.
Child is chosen to be the special one through whom the cultist will be able to receive power. To receive power, there must always be a sacrifice. We know that. That's a kingdom principle. A helpless infant or child is chosen to be the living sacrifice unto Satan. The child is subjected to numerous painful and terrifying rituals whereby demons are summoned to come into the child, making him or her a little battery of satanic powers that can be accessed by the cult members. So you got this little innocent child being raped and molested and everything so they can pull these spirits out and become one with them sexually, and they can channel these spirits through this child. This child is none of the wise, so they don't understand what's going on. It's a child. The most common way these powers are accessed is by performing acts of sexual perversion on the child. Yeah. Some of these rulers believe that the secret to eternal life or true power in this life is the molestation of a young child, because you take their purity and you use it as power. This is why children are abused constantly, and these abused children grow up one day. A lot of times they grow up without knowledge of what happened to them. They just know they have a deficit and they want somebody to approve of them. Not just mother and father, but they need a whole lot of people to approve of them because their self-esteem is gone. So what do? They get a talent, they get an ability, they're able to sing, they're able to act, they're able to perform. What do? They get up before people. When they get up before people, people clap. That's approval. They love it. They want some more. They'll do anything to get that role. They'll do anything to get that record deal. They will do anything, even sell their soul to the devil through the OTO to be famous.
We can be redeemed, but they cannot. That's why they're doing all this. That's why Satan is mad.
Justin Bieber is the next one they're going to yes. So however you want to word it, mental breakdown, drug addiction, disappears, can't handle it, all of that. Yes. Here's the problem with somebody like Bieber. First of all, his mother, no offense, I hate to blame just the mother. Could be the father like Britney Spears, but whoever, like Usher's mother, who's whining like a crybaby, I should sue Diddy. Listen, lady, you pushed your kid out there knowing and took paycheck. Do not put your kids out there. Bieber was put out there. Bieber went to Diddy camp and then Usher camp, and these guys just sodomized him. That's what happens at camp. You get sodomized. It's ritualized, actually. So we have to stop. We have to stop looking at as just perversion sexually and gayness, because it's really ritualistic. It's used.
I heard sodomy in a virgin male is the strongest form of magic in dark practices. Little boys need to be protected as much as little girls.
1,000 kilograms of fruits and vegetables. Not to mention, it's like...
She's talking about spirulina, and I actually saw an article about this from NASA. They
NASA?
have found that and chlorella you could actually like bring up into space or even survive on it for up to 2 years just by living on spirulina alone. Not that you'd want to, because it's not exactly flavorful, but it just goes to show how jam-packed it is with all kinds of essential amino acids. It's rich in omega-3s. It's literally, like she said, it's like 1 kilogram is equal to like 1,000 fruits and vegetables. So you put it in a smoothie, you're going to have a violently green smoothie. But honestly, it doesn't impact the taste, at least as far as I can tell. And it's definitely something that's worth a try.
You lost me at NASA, but I'm going to do more research about this.
Means be less you. Appreciate is appreciate. Awake means awake, which is an event where the family gather together before a funeral. Mourning is an expression of sorrow for someone's death. Job is Hebrew for prosecution. You are taught to specifically say the vowels in this order, where the last 3 words say I-O-U, because they are programming you to remain a slave. Every word you say is shaping your mind, and your mind is a mirror of your external world. This is why abracadabra means I create when I speak. weak. The words I am can be used to direct vibrational frequencies into your morphogenetic field and have the ability to change your genes. When you use the word the, you're referring to God to bring it into existence, because the comes from theo, which is Greek for God. The weekend is when you're weakened from the weekdays, when you're in a daze, when you are in physical shock or unable to think or react properly. Your parents are a pair who rents. They want you to think slaughter is laughter. The comment that gets 0 likes will win a book of wisdom and a necklace.
This is only a problem for English-speaking people. Let me know how you feel about this.
Norway is a simulation and you cannot convince me otherwise. I've come here 4 times now and I'm just certain it's not real. There is literally nobody about. Look, I've been on this street here for 5 days and I literally haven't seen another person. Cars don't move off their drives and there is literally no cars on the roads. And when you do meet the occasional character when you go to a restaurant or when you're out, the English is just too good. It's like AI. It's all just a little bit too dodgy for me. When you go anywhere else in Europe, there's always a little bit of a language barrier, but here the English is just a bit too good, a little bit too robotic. And what's even weirder is since I've started saying it's a simulation, there's been more and more people appearing. I mean, they've picked up on it. They must be hearing me. I mean, I'm going mad.
Who goes to Norway 4 times?
Now Doritos has to go. You can call me a right-wing extremist, you can call me whatever you want, but I am a man of God and I will not partner or support the demonic. Doritos has come out with a new rainbow-colored chip to support the LGBTQ community, and they hired this trans influencer to partner with them. He calls himself Samantha Hudson, but the internet did its thing and found old tweets of what this dude said. He made the most disgusting comments you can imagine. He stated himself that he was a pedophile, and he said that he had molested his own young cousin. And Doritos heard about these tweets, they fired him or whatever, but this influencer said that he also wanted to abolish the nuclear family. Why did Doritos want to partner with this guy anyway? I don't care that they fired him. Doritos, PepsiCo, Fritos, it's all got to go. I'm not going to partner with them. I'm not going to give them my money. It's never going to be in my house. You can call me a bigot. You can call me whatever you want. Some of y'all are even going to think that I'm in the wrong for making this post, but exposing evil is a good thing. If you haven't noticed, we are in the last days. People are calling good evil and evil good. People are not lovers of God. They're lovers of self and of pleasure and their own passions. This is disgusting. Stop partnering with darkness and share this with everyone.
What's up with his teeth? You know, Doritos used to be my favorite. Oh well, go woke, go broke. They can sit on the shelf with the Bud Light.
I'm going to show you this project. Have
Yeah.
you ever heard of the Skytanic plane?
No.
Skytanic.
No.
All right, let me show you a video, bro. It will blow your mind.
Titanic.
Skytanic. It is a project of a plane that will finish by
Yeah.
the end of 2024. It will be ready. People are actually
Yeah?
flying this plane. It can hold 5,000 passengers. It's the size of a cruise ship resort.
No.
It has swimming pools, water slides, restaurants, cafes, a small mall, a spa, and also a bowling alley inside of a
Wallah, I
plane.
would never go.
A plane.
Bro, imagine
Not only that, it has hotel-sized bedrooms, and it has the ability to fly for months without landing because it's nuclear powered.
Okay.
Have you ever heard of the unsinkable ship?
Yeah.
This is the never landing plane.
Yeah?
Yeah.
It's a bad idea to say that, you know, like how they said the Titanic and that's
It's never gonna
no,
sink.
and
This plane never lands. It's very
yeah, similar.
So let me show you how the plane looks like if you're interested to
Yeah.
see. This is the Skytanic. Huge, bro.
Who owns it?
No idea.
Would you go?
After 2 years.
Yeah, when you test people,
Yes.
and then if the first batch died, you will not go.
or I can be a part of a movie, you know? I can be a part of a movie
Yes,
story.
sir, you let them test first.
Yeah.
Hold on. If it has a pool and the plane takes off, won't the water in the pool go everywhere? I think it's capped. What do you think?
In order to understand how important the next couple weeks are going to be for the entire human race, you got to watch this whole video. You got to hear me out. I'm not even asking you to outright believe everything I'm about to tell you. All I'm asking you to do is consider the possibility that it is true. Lately, I've been telling everyone to get as much Terrence Howard as they possibly can, Maine, and there's a really good reason for it. If you haven't watched the Joe Rogan episode with Terrence Howard, I highly recommend that you do. Watching that podcast and this video together are going to help you to tap into very deep truths about reality. Now, this is where it gets really meta. In the episode of Joe Rogan, Terrence Howard talks about the morphogenic field. It would take me hours to explain everything there is to know about this field. I'm just going to give you the clip notes that are absolutely important for you right now. If a particular crystalline structure has never formed on the Earth before, the chances that it will once are very low. But once it does form, just one time, the chance that it'll do it again increases exponentially. And it's not because the crystalline structure, the first one that forms, propagates more of them. It doesn't give birth to them. It doesn't duplicate itself. So there's no reason that the next crystalline structure of the same type should form any quicker than the first one did. But it does. And once that crystalline formation forms 2 times, the chances it'll do it a 3rd time is even better than the 2nd time. And you see an exponential curve of manifestation of a new structure. Now, it doesn't just work for structures. We're still talking about the morphogenetic field here. It also works with ideas. You may have heard about the numerous experiences that were proven over and over again that when they taught a particular species of animals in a certain locale, let's say on the mainland of Africa, if they taught them a certain new behavior, like teaching monkeys how to use sticks to get termites or teaching a crow about water displacement, members of the same species on other areas like islands and even other continents would pick up the behavior spontaneously. This is the same reason that when that first crystalline structure forms, it gives rise for the ability for that crystalline structure to form again and again at an exponential rate. Have you heard the story about the first person who ran the 4-minute mile? Before they did it, it was thought to be humanly impossible to run the 4-minute mile. Our bodies just couldn't do it. Luckily, there was a guy who didn't believe that. And he trained and he trained and he trained. And eventually he ran the 4-minute mile. And after he ran the 4-minute mile, 2 weeks later, somebody else did. What changed from when they thought it was humanly impossible to when many people started doing it? Nothing, except everyone started to believe it was possible. Human physiology didn't change, or maybe it did. Maybe the belief that we could do it actually changed our bodies. Or maybe we had a little mental limiter in our brain that stopped our bodies, stopped our muscles from being as strong as they could be. Hearing Terrence Howard out and everything that he has to say will open up new areas of your mind. It will take all those limiters off. You will start to see the world in a new and expanding way. This is why they put so much terror and stress into the internet and the media and everywhere they possibly can, because they are terrified of the moment that someone gets the idea that they can be free, that they deserve all the knowledge and wisdom that is available in the world, because once one person truly believes it, it'll be much quicker for the second person. When you start getting 2, 3, 4, 5, that exponential curve will turn the whole world over. And that's what they're truly terrified of. And people like Terrence Howard are people that are helping to turn that world over in the right direction. You can't even imagine how fast the liberation will happen. All you have to do is open your mind, open your ears, and believe in a new possibility. What's happening right now is going to make the enemy very desperate. So I predict that they're going to do something real wild in the next couple of weeks. We need to stay calm, to stabilize, to ignore them, to refuse them, and stay on the path where we all become enlightened, the path where we build a new world that is for everyone. They're going to be kicking and screaming in the corner. We have to ignore them.
What? Knowing is the place of power. Stay in the knowing, folks. But Terrence Howard lost my attention when he said we are all God. I'm not God, but I have God's Spirit inside me, which is the Holy Spirit. When you accept Jesus as your Lord and Savior, you get one.
Way before the King James, the Geneva Bible was out. King James banned the Geneva Bible. And you say, wait a minute, if the Geneva Bible is such a good book, why was it banned? If you can figure out anything that might cause a king not to want to have this out, put on the whole armor of God, that you may abide to stand against the assaults of the devil. For For we wrestle not only against flesh and blood, but against principalities, against powers. Sounds pretty familiar so far, right? And against worldly governors who are the princes of darkness of this world, against spiritual wickedness which are in the high places. In fact, if you read the instructions, you find out that they left out a lot of things. The true meaning of baptism, the true meaning of what the church is. And the reason why they did it is they wanted to be able to control the people. They wanted to say that the government is divinely empowered and that the church you got to listen to, and of course he controlled the church. 1910 talks about some of the real purposes of the King James Version, and it's not what you were taught in school. About 65,000 plus changes in the King James versions to some of the New Age versions. There's 20,000 changes from the Geneva to the King James. So you kind of get the idea that they're trying to change everything around so it means something totally different. The Rothschilds. Their goal was to control the world through controlling money. Care who the government is, let me control the money and I will control the country. The king, when America was started effectively corporations or trusts. Who owned America to start with, or the part that was under English rule?
Mason.
The king. It was his own personal property. And he could license you to be able to get minerals and do this and do that as long as you paid your fair share. But the king literally owned the whole country, other than what France owned in Spain and those kind of things. The real reason for the Revolutionary War. Very interesting. Not what you were taught in school. Here's a few quotes from William Manley German in a speech to the House of Commons, December 1913. The Rothschilds' Bank caused a bill to be introduced in the English Parliament, which provided that no colony of England could issue its own money. Thus, they had to use English money. The colonies were compelled to discard their money and mortgage themselves to the Rothschilds' Bank of England to get money. Then, for the first time in the history of the United States, money began to be based on debt. Benjamin Franklin stated that in 1 year from that date, the streets of the colonies were filled with the unemployed. Franklin later claimed this was the real cause of the War of Independence. This is according to Benjamin Franklin. The colonies would gladly have borne the little tax on tea and other matters had it not been that England and the Rothschilds Bank took away from the colonies their money, which created unemployment, dissatisfaction, and debt. We heard this nasty rumor that we won the Revolutionary War. Ain't true. We did not win it. The last battle that was fought, Cornwallis surrendered the battle, not the war. Proof? About 1 year ago, this document, it's called the Definitive Treaty of Peace between Great Britain and the United States, signed at Paris, 3 September 1783. It had never been in this country before that. This is what really, really, really happened. It having pleased the divine providence to dispose the hearts of the most serene and most potent prince. This is somebody that lost a battle is the most potent prince? I don't think so. George III, by the grace of God, listen to this. Here's his titles. King of Great Britain. France. Who did we borrow the money from that helped us win the war? We thought France. Now we owe that money to the King of England? Interesting. Ireland, Arch-Treasurer and Prince-Elector of the Holy Roman Empire. Treasurer of the Catholic Church. Find out the parties of the treaty is this guy named John Adams, comma, Esquire. Does anybody know where you go get an Esquire title? England. I don't think we gave them out. Benjamin Franklin, Esquire. John Jay, Esquire. These were all people who were titled nobility in England who were negotiating this treaty. And do you know what the treaty really said? The treaty really said it's agreed that everything that England and the people of England and the king and whoever else owned and any obligations that existed before this treaty are still law. The king still owns it. The king still owed all the money. Nothing changed except we could govern ourselves theoretically as long as we paid the rent. Where did that show up in the Constitution? This document actually required us to form a Constitution, so we did. And so where did it show up in the Constitution? Here's a couple places. Section 10. state shall pass no law impairing the obligation of contracts. Oh, so we still owe the money, so the land's still the king's. That's right in the Constitution. Snuck that one by you. Or grant any title of nobility, which means the king is still the one that puts all the esquires. You read in the Constitution, it says the Constitution is the supreme law of the land. No, it doesn't. It says the Constitution and treaties are the supreme law of the land. The thing that people don't know is what treaties. And the answer to that one is in a law case called Hamilton versus Eaton, 1796. And guess what it said was the most supreme law of the land? The definitive treaty. There's a second constitution. Oh, guess what? You're not a part of it. Little court rulings like, oh, the Second Amendment doesn't apply to you. It's right. You know why? You're not a party to the contract, nor were any people parties to the.
I thought that Geneva is not the standard. The Dead Sea Scrolls are. But let me know your takes in a comment, please. This is interesting.
Siri, if Diddy did diddle dudes, how many dudes did Diddy diddle?
According to my calculations, if Diddy did diddle dudes, Diddy diddled over 1 billion dudes.
Oh, damn, does that mean Diddy's getting his doodle did?
Oh, most definitely. If Diddy's found guilty, Diddy's definitely getting his doodle hole diddled by dudes with large diddles.
Oh, Diddy done did it now.
Did it now. The internet is undefeated, folks.
You guys heard about the film that they tried to do in Egypt in the 70s and then it got shut down? So what they wanted to do is like kind of this old Egyptian thing, and they wanted it to be a fairly accurate sort of like creepy piece, but they thought, hey, let's make this as actual as we can. And they found people who like very familiar with the ancient Egyptian religion, and they brought them in to like do worship services as they used to in the actual areas, and just weird stuff started happening. And they didn't think anything of it, but they're literally doing these like chants and just weird rituals. Well, a few weeks in, everyone starts getting sick, and it like just starts to break out over the entire set. And so they have to bring in health experts, and they start getting really confused. They're like, we don't know what we're looking at. So they bring in more experts, and they realize we haven't seen this disease for thousands of years. The last time it was prevalent was ancient Egypt, and it shut the film down.
Let's not dig this stuff up or open boxes that have been.
But on the other hand, we want conversation topics.
Hey, you can just looking.
We want to know.
Don't be like
this. So I guess just about anyone can make a podcast about anything and nothing at the same time.
This is a working model of Terrence Howard's patent. From what I can tell, this is what makes time travel possible. This baby might have enough juice, and I'm talking about 1.21 gigawatts, and we can go back to November the 5th, 1955.
They will call him crazy, discredit him, then repackage it and sell it back to us with their image. Just how they always do. I'm not going to deny that he's a genius.
It's getting weird. Part infinity.
I was up. I hit rock bottom, but I make no excuses. My behavior on that video is inexcusable. I take full responsibility for my actions in that video.
Dear Diddy, we do not care. We don't care, my guy. We don't care. Just fall back, take a seat, go do something else. We don't want to see you, dog. Nobody wants to see you. And as far as going forward with Diddy, listen, as soon as he settled with Cassie, I knew that nigga was guilty. Immediately. Anytime you settle on some heinous allegations, you're guilty. But going forward with him and his son, if you know, you know. I'm believing every allegation with Diddy. Every single one of them. A girl could come up and be like, my name is Sarah. And Diddy stole $5 from me. I believe you. Another girl could come up and be like, my name is Fatima. And Diddy rubbed the back of my kneecaps without my consent. Rubbing the back of someone's kneecap sounds crazy, but girl.
I believe you.
I believe you. Another one could come and be like, Diddy, say less. I believe you. And the last one can come up and be like,
you got it.
I believe you. Wait, I didn't say anything. You didn't have to. I felt the pain behind that sniffle.
He's apologizing because he got caught, and he's sorry from Dominican Republic. He's probably here in Bali now. I wouldn't be surprised.
Flower of life is probably one of the most ancient symbols that we have found on our planet in the temple of Osirian in Abydos, Egypt. Archaeological research, they've concluded that it's at least 6,000 years old, but it may be much older than that. Whoever did it, they had extraordinary engineering and scientific ability that amazes us. There's a Chinese dragon, and on the dragon's foot, his foot is on the flower of life. So the greatest minds in the past tried to solve it, but they couldn't get past the two-dimensional aspect of it. We're only scratching the surface of the three-dimensional world of the flower of life. It's very, very complicated at the three-dimensional level.
The flower of life, it's very, very old. The concept is very old. What was the origin of the concept?
It's the oldest symbol known to mankind. It's believed that it was Anki, the brother of Enlil, if you go by the Emerald
Sumerian text.
Yeah, the Sumerian text. Why don't you just take the pieces that make up the flower and put them together based on universal ratios? So this is the juxtapose of the mistake they made. I took 4 of those triangles and wow. And you can scroll around. This is what happens when 4 bubbles meet. This is the negative space where they can't touch each other. This is hydrogen. And as I was saying, electricity is always trying to get to the center of that triangle, but it gets pushed out. And now you see it has 4 contractive poles, which is the electric poles. It has 4 contractive poles because electricity is seeking a higher pressure condition and forcing it in, where magnetism is seeking a lower pressure condition and spun out. So the vortices, those tips, that's the magnetic field. That's where they begin. But it has an equal attractor and an equal amount of repulsion. So if you go to what happens when 8 bubbles meet, they gave me the patents to that. I called that the tetrahedron. This is
the negative space in between 8 bubbles.
8 bubbles. This is a negative space where 8 bubbles meet, and you can scroll around.
And this is ignored when they're concentrating on straight lines.
Completely, because this, if you look from the top, I haven't violated anything. It fits perfectly inside of there. This is the negative space where 8 bubbles meet, but you'll notice it has 8 contractive poles, but it only has 6 magnetic poles, 6 vortices, so it has a greater electrical potential than a repulsion. So maybe this is the strong nuclear force, and the previous one was the weak nuclear force. I called this the Huntian after my son. So I was like, what happens when 6 bubbles meet? Now you see that it has these huge bubbles, fast moving, but there's 6 strong spheres that's going around this, but the greater attractor has grabbed the 2 weaker attractors. And this looks just like a photon, and guess what? It has 30 poles. This looks like what happens in nature. So I was like, okay, so they gave me the patents to this, but you'll see that there's 6 unaccounted electrical poles to it. So I was like, what happens when 12 bubbles meet? Another stable structure that we basically see in nature, but there's 4 unaccounted electrical poles to it. 4 spin around it. You can count those 4. You'll see 1 at the bottom and 3 on those sides. This is the basis of crystallization, laws of crystallization that formed. When I was like, what happens when 24 bubbles meet? This is the negative space. If you pull to a horizontal on it, this is a negative space where 24 bubbles meet. This is where you cannot distinguish this from the background because all of the electrical potential has been accounted for. This would be the Bose-Einstein condensate, where something becomes indistinguishable from the fabric of space itself, the final state of matter. And the proof of this, the platonic solids, they have a thing called discrete symmetry. You can put the cubes together, maybe you can put the dodecahedrons together, but you can't put all of them together. But you can take the wave conjugations right here, and they form supersymmetrical systems where everything aligns.
What? I live in a dimension where this guy was an actor, and I still quote the line, "Next time, baby," from Iron Man to this day. Alright folks, I'm going to end our video with this coming clip. Be kind to each other. If you haven't subscribed, please do. And don't forget to like the video. And if you want to buy me coffee or support me on Patreon, the links are in the description below. Thank you for watching. Peace and God bless.
Father. 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 Or you can say dad for Papa.
Mother.
It's mom or mother, not mother.
Son.
Son. Son. I'm good. Son.
Son. Daughter.
It's not daughter. It's daughter.
Son.
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 Mi son. A son.
Son.